how many of us think that these Pasha centers are a punishment? And how many of us deem it a blessing? Yeah? Because you might have received, or you might have started a project, but it has gotten to a point that you're expecting so much money from it, but it is not giving you money. And you have gotten to a point you're thinking now, how can I get out of this? I'm not able to service the loan. I'm not able to feed my stomach. I thought I would be getting something small from this, but it is not possible. How many of us think it is a punishment? How many of us deem it as a blessing? Now, the reason why I'm asking this question, I would like us to ask this question, is because yesterday I had so many of your concerns, and one of them that stood out was one particular person was talking about paying the loan and sustaining the business. Yeah? You know, it is not easy to have gotten money from somewhere, somebody has funded you, and you are not able to give back. Sindio? I don't know, I can't remember where you are from, but you say that you have 15 machines, but you only utilize 4. Yeah? What do you do with the rest? 11 machines. Yeah? And here you have received money from the government. Sindio? Now, I want us to be looking at some of these things, and I want us to see how do you manage this money that you get from the government, or the funding that you got. Whether when you talk about money, we are talking about the assets that you got. Somebody said they applied for 300,000. How much have you earned from these 300,000? Yeah? Some of us, we were supposed, I think, which is the list you're supposed to take? 300. All the way to 3.5 million. So 3.5, yeah? So different, some of us took different, yeah? But how many of us have done so much with it? Now, financial management is very, very key when it comes to this, yeah? Now, it is good. Yesterday I had Joanna talk about you having separate accounts, that is the business account and personal accounts. I hope you guys have done that. I'm just praying that you have separate accounts, and the separate accounts, that is the business and your personal. Because now, any money generated from the business is supposed to be banked in that separate account. Any money that, which you are using for personal use, then is supposed to be accounted separately. Now, as we continue, let's look at what you're expecting to get after this. That is the objective of financial management. We have, the objectives are down there. We are saying number 1 is to create wealth. Number 2 is to generate cash. And the third one is to provide an adequate return on investment, bearing in mind the risk that the business is taking and the resources invested. Those are the the 3 key objectives of financial management. So looking at it, I was expecting, when I was coming here, I did a little bit of research of Pasha centers, and they said they had 63 Pasha centers. Are we 63? How many of us are still carrying on with the business? How many of us are still fighting on? How many of us have ran away? So finance is a key thing in business. So how many of us have been able to create wealth? When you talk about creating wealth, yesterday Njogona talked about something that is very key. Creating wealth and generating cash. If somebody can remind us, what did we say creating wealth is? Or what is wealth? What is the difference between wealth and money? Profits is just gotten today, and maybe you can eat and you forget about it, yeah? But wealth is sustainable. So we are talking about creating wealth, and when you're talking about creating wealth, we are looking at these Pasha centers as being not a cyber cafe. Because what I got from some of us, we are just looking at it as a cyber cafe. How many cyber cafes were there prior to the Pasha centers? There are so many, isn't it? But when I was looking at the objectives of the government, it was treating the Pasha centers as a center, ICT center, offering different or dynamic ICT solutions to the community. Sindio? And I looked at it na nikaona the intent of the government was not for you to open a cyber cafe per se. It was for you to be able to develop the community around you as well as yourself, isn't it? Yeah? So, I mean, we need to have gotten it right. When I don't mean that you got it wrong, but we need to have gotten it right from the word go. We are able to be, I mean, the Pasha centers were there not to be cyber cafes. Because cyber cafes already exist, isn't it? Yeah? We need something else other than a cyber cafe. Now, when we talk about finance, and I've said finance touches on a lot of things, I'm hoping that when you are preparing business, what are they called? Plans. You had a vision and a mission. How many of us incorporated that in the business plan? You had a vision and a mission, yeah? It is good that you stick to your mission and your vision. And at times it is good that you write that vision down so that in the morning when you wake up and you're going to work, you look at the mission and see whether you are achieving it. You look at the vision and see whether you're going to get there. Isn't it? Now, if your mission was to create wealth, how is wealth created? How do you do business to create wealth? So, these are some of the questions that you're supposed to be asking yourself. How do I create wealth?
By the way, if a customer comes to you, he knows you're a specialist, isn't it? Or he'll tell you, now I want to probably log in, I want to open an email account. Let me use basic things, isn't it? He will not ask your employee. He will ask you because you're the owner. When I'm selling the chicks that I told you I'm breeding nowadays, the first thing a customer will ask me is, have you vaccinated them? And they'll ask you specifically, umezipea dawa gani? They will not ask my employee, wewe, kuja hapa, hizo kuku mulipea dawa gani? You get what I'm saying? So you as a supplier or you as a manager, you are required to have technical knowledge, expertise. Now that is to say, if you didn't have any expertise, please make sure you have a little bit of expertise to be able to do that business. Secondly, marketing skills. To facilitate market research and to design a marketing plan to promote and distribute the goods or services. Remember we said you're everything. You're the technical person, you're the marketer. So you also need the marketing skills. How will you sell? You need the sales skills. And by the way, there is a difference between sales and marketing. Now you market, but when you finally close a deal, then what have you done? You have sold, isn't it? So you also need to know, what do I do? He finally have made a sale. Do I just tell my customer, tutaonana? Yeah? You see, there's a way you can talk to your customer and they will either come back or go completely. Yeah? So do you give them the after sale service? Or talk to them nicely. You know, customers may not even need very many things. They just want somebody who can listen to them. Tomorrow you're going to look at the customer care, how to deal with our customers. So how do? You need that skill to persuade a customer until you make a sale. Remember, I've also said, it's not the customer who needs you. The reason why you started that Pasha is because you need the customer. And with no customer, you close doors and go away. Then you also need the organizational skills. You need to have the ability to plan and organize yourself and your business to ensure that the staff, resources, materials, and finished goods are in the right place at the right time. You remember the 4 or 5 functions of management? The one we talked about yesterday: planning, controlling, organizing, directing, and staffing. You need those skills. Then you also need to know how to make good decisions. I told you yesterday, managers must have very good conceptual skills. If you're faced with a problem, then it is the manager who is looked upon to make a very good, quick decision. Yeah. So how do you make those decisions? So you also need to know how to make your decisions. You also need the financial skills. That's why you had a financial management class in the morning or session in the morning. It is still important for the owner to be able to understand the accounting procedures, and it is essential to have a basic understanding of budgetary planning and control in order to keep the business on track and spot any potential problems. Don't give your accountant to keep for you your books of accounts. And I'm not saying you can outsource. You can get an accountant, somebody who comes probably after every 2 weeks or after 1 week, if you're not able to do that. But don't allow him to just do it. Ask him, what are you doing? Yeah? Tell him, now if I have to pay my loan, how do we go about it? Understand the financial. And I'm not saying you have to go to the deep to understand there's some terms that are used in finance. Yeah? But have a basic understanding of what is happening in your business. I always say, financial skills is just to know cash in and cash out. Yeah? What cash is coming in and the cost of your business. And again, cost of your business means what money is going out as a cost. What are your fixed costs? What are your variable costs? What is the return on investment and all that? Then we have the customer service skills. This is not just a case of keeping the customer satisfied by providing a consistently high standard of service. For small firms, one of the biggest headaches is dealing with customer in debt collection and persuading customers to pay their bills on time without the risk of offending them or losing their business. Remember when you're at startup, you have no customers. This is when customers are coming, isn't it? So you must have very good customer care skills. If you lose a customer at startup, you're bound to stay in the startup period. Yeah? So how do I, yeah? So you must have that skill. It's also a very good skill. Staff management, and now that's why we are looking at human resource. The ability to supervise, delegate work, train and motivate staff to get the best out of them. The importance of this is often underestimated. And for new owner managers who have never previously been involved with managing staff, one of the hardest aspects is delegation. So you also need to learn, how do I delegate? You cannot be everything, isn't it? You can't. And there is no way, especially when your business starts growing. At first, you will start alone, but by the end of that month, you realize you need another hand. Remember, if you have another hand, it frees you as a manager. You may be involved in very many meetings, isn't it? So you have to learn how to delegate.